Hey guys, what is up, and I welcome each and every one of you to a new League of Legends video. So today I thought we'll be going over the PvE server and taking an early look to see exactly what's happening there, because already there are quite a bit of things, including new keystones and new items. I'm also doing a giveaway with a bunch of YouTubers that's almost ending, so I'll have a link to it down below, guys. Good luck to everyone that is entering. But let's not waste any more time and get right into the video. So starting things off, we actually have a mini rework coming over to Nocturne. Now, Nocturne hasn't really seen the light of day for quite some time now, usually seen in the jungle, but even there, he's rarely seen because, well, a lot of the time junglers are just usually played to actually gank the lanes. You don't see too many farm-heavy junglers anymore. So it seems like Riot is trying to give him some buffs to make him a little bit more tempting to play, and the buffs are as follows. First, we have his W, and this is where the mini rework is. It has two new effects, the first of which states, W's active effect now also causes monsters to flee on cast, so on top of also giving him the spell shield to block the next spell, the second you activate it, all the monsters around you are instantly going to be fleeing in fear, which is actually really strong. It'll make his jungle clear that much better, and he'll exit the jungle on his first clear especially a lot more healthy. But to make things even better, it also has a second new effect, and this one states that after you actually use your W, so on top of also blocking a spell and granting you increased attack speed for 3 seconds, also when you fear monsters, it will also proc the passive attack speed bonus to double for 3 seconds as well. So TLDR, it seems like Nocturne's jungle path is going to be made a lot better and healthier. So don't be too surprised if in the next patch you start seeing jungle Nocturne much more frequently. But it actually does not end there just yet, because his ultimate has also been buffed. The duration at which the enemies have the reduced vision has actually been increased from 4 seconds to 6 seconds, and I actually think this is quite a big buff, because already the 4 seconds itself is actually quite long, and his ultimate can really just simply win teamfights because of the vision impairment that it offers. It's very strong, because vision is very much everything in League of Legends. Now being 6 seconds, 2 extra seconds, especially within a team fight, because every millisecond counts, it's a pretty damn big buff, and I feel like Nocturne will definitely be a lot stronger as long as the meta at least somewhat favors him, because at the end of the day, if farm heavy junglers are just still simply not in the meta, then there's still a fairly high chance that Nocturne will just simply not be a very good champion regardless. But let's move on to the next change I want to talk about, and this one is actually going to be towards Olaf. This is, of course, as I'm sure you've already guessed, going to be some buffs, because much like Nocturne, you don't really see Olaf too often. I mean, sure, there are going to be some, one tricks here and there playing him, but other than that, Olaf is not really in the meta, and he hasn't been in the meta for quite some time. So hopefully these buffs will solve that, and the first of which is going to be towards his W, where the active duration has been increased from 6 seconds to 7 seconds. Now, that doesn't seem like it's a lot, but honestly, a whole extra second in a team fight for something like his W ability, which he heavily relies on, is actually quite useful. But obviously it's not going to end there just yet, because moving on to his ultimate, it has also received a buff. The bonus resistances has actually been increased as you rank up the ability, the active duration on his ultimate has also been increased by 1 second, and also the bonus AD offered by his ultimate increases by every single rank, so same at rank 1, extra 10 AD rank 2, and extra 20 AD by rank 3. All in all, it's not the biggest buffs in the entire world to Olaf, but he's also a very volatile type champion, to where if you do overbuff him, he will be by far the best champion top lane and maybe even in the jungle. So you have to be very cautious with how you buff this champion, and I feel like they did a pretty good job at it, where it's not completely overbuffing it and it's not something completely crazy that'll make him overpowered, but I think this will actually put him back into the meta, and maybe Olaf top will actually become a thing once again. Next up, we have somewhat of a combination of nerfs and buffs coming over to Tristana, some of which I actually think are a little bit questionable, but let's see what they did. So starting things off, we have actually a pretty big nerf, where her attack range has actually been lowered from 550 to 525. Now keep in mind, Tristana does have her passive that slowly increases her overall attack range anyway, so eventually she'll still get to a spot where she's at a pretty good attack range and feeling pretty safe, but the laning phase is definitely going to be hit by this by quite a bit. However, this is where it gets a little bit interesting. So her Q, both the rapid fire, which was, by the way, a fantastic ability for an ADC. The bonus attack speed has been actually increased from starting at 30 up to 110 to now starting at 70 going up to 110. However, the active duration has been lowered from being 7 seconds at every single rank to starting at 3 seconds rank 1 and then going up to 7 seconds by rank 5. So by rank 5 of her Q ability is actually the exact same thing, and there are pretty much no changes anymore. However, the first few ranks, that's where the big changes are, and I actually may think that it's maybe a buff, because 3 seconds with 70% 70% attack speed versus, let's say, 7 seconds with 30%, I actually wouldn't mind the 70% because as long as you use it correctly and you use it the second you throw the E on them or something like that, you know, you'll be able to do your damage much more quickly. And I actually think that's a good thing because with the 7 seconds with 30% attack speed, you're sort of forced to, you know, be in that fight at the level 2 or 3 fight or whatever that much longer, right? Because you want to get the duration off of it. But with this 3 seconds, 70% attack speed, you'll just get that burst of damage, or in this case, I guess technically burst of attack speed, which translates into damage right here and right now. You'll be able to proc your E ability that much more quickly, and I just overall think it's actually a little bit better, but I could be wrong. But then following this, we also have the Buster Shot, which is their ultimate, where the cooldown on this has actually been lowered to 100 at all ranks, where now at the live servers, it's only 100 at rank 3. So like I said, guys, all in all, got a little bit of mixed F buffs and nerfs, which I think is questionable because, in my opinion, Tristana is one of the better ADCs by far at the very moment, easily in the top 3. So receiving these kind of changes, I mean, it seems like it'll affect her negatively because of the attack range being lowered in the laning phase. You know, that's going to be a bad thing for sure. But then you have the, what I personally think may actually be a buff to her Q ability, which I think is just better. I don't know. I'm a little bit confused as to this, you know, and what they're really trying to accomplish here. Maybe there'll be more changes throughout the PBE cycle and we'll get a better understanding and a better kind of linear pathway as to what they really are trying to do with Tristana. But next we're going to move into the section with the items and see exactly what Riot is doing here. And I want to start off with Duskblade of Drakthar because they are nerfing it. So the damage all around on Duskblade is just flat out being lowered, whether it's the starting damage or the end damage, which for me as someone that actually plays Zed and Talon that abuses this item, I mean, it kind of sucks. I'm not going to lie. It's a little bit weird that they're doing this because, well, champions like Zed are actually pretty bad at the moment. So this is going to make him even worse. On the bright side, however, if I'm not misreading it, it has kind of a new effect to where now melee attacks instantly kill these devices. That's what it states, which I'm assuming applies to any wards that are being revealed by the actual passive effect of Duskblade of Drakthar, where if you walk beside a ward, it pops and you can actually see the ward and kill it. And ranged attacks no longer have a separate damage value also on Duskblade of Drakthar, so they're actually just completely gutting the item from melee champions, which honestly really sucks. And I'm a little disappointed that they're doing this, and I feel like they should make it more rewarding for melee champions than ranged champions. It just doesn't make sense that it will be the exact same value for both types of champions, and I'm really hoping that they change this by the time this PBE server or this patch goes onto the live servers. But moving along, let's talk about a new item. Now, some of you may actually think this is a new item. Some of you may already realize that this is an item that used to be in League of Legends a very long time ago. So, I mean, for the sake of the video, it essentially is a new item at this point because it hasn't been in League for so long, and a lot of people probably don't even know what it is. Shurelya's Reverie. I mean, this thing was, oh man, I can't even remember when it was, but it must have been several seasons ago when this thing existed in League of Legends, and it was actually really good. So let's take a look at what this one is doing for us. 2100 gold, the recipe being the Kindle Gem, 8th Wisp, plus also 450 gold for the recipe. For that, you'll get 40 AP, 200 health, 10% CDR, 8% in movement speed, and you can activate it to grant yourself and nearby allies extra movement speed for 3 seconds. Now, if memory serves, this more or less should be pretty much what it did way back when it used to exist in League of Legends. Now personally, I thought this item got replaced by Righteous Glory since they do very similar things, but I guess Righteous is a bit more for tanks, while this one is designed for maybe supports and even AP champions. All in all, the item is actually quite good. It'll give you a lot of movement speed, it'll do a lot of stuff for yourself, which you can use it to also use to chase people down and also to run away, which is always a good thing. And I have to say, it's getting pretty nostalgic seeing all these old items, like for instance the Shurelyas, or in the last patch where we had the Twin Shadows, all come back because they used to exist in League of Legends so long ago. Now all Riot needs to do is just bring back the Heart of Gold, and I think we're all happy. Now, very quickly, Riot is actually doing a small mini rework to all the support items to where other laners can't take them and abuse them. Since all the support items offer some form of gold generation, whether it's being dropped or hitting someone or whatever, now if you actually were to kill a minion, it disables whatever the gold generation the current support item you have offers completely. So if you're playing mid lane, you can't really just get this item and also get the gold from it while still using it in every single way possible. They're pretty much making sure that these items are only used by supports and no other role. Next up, there's also a new rune, finally, a new Keystone being added to League of Legends, and it's going to be in the precision tree. This rune is called Conqueror, and it does the following. After 4 seconds in combat, your first attack against an enemy champion grants you 10 to 60 AD based on level for 4 seconds and converts, get this, 20% of your damage to champions to true damage for the duration, and for melee only, damaging enemy champions refreshes this buff. My goodness, does that sound just completely busted? If that doesn't sound busted, I honestly don't know what does. I mean, what the hell? This Keystone will give you so much extra damage, it's gonna be disgusting. You'll be able to just completely shred tanks as well because of the damage conversion to true damage, 20% of it. I mean, it says experimental for sure, and I really hope it is because I have to say, this actually sounds really damn good. Just imagine someone like Yasuo with this Keystone. My goodness, is that going to be spicy. And last but not least, I wanted to also quickly talk about the new change to the Cloud Dragon buff. So currently, whenever you have Cloud Dragon, it gives you a just flat out plus extra movement speed, right? 25, 50, 75, which of course is out of combat, but that's actually been changed to now being 2, 4, and 6% tripled when out of combat, which is very, very good. So you get movement speed just overall, and you also get a lot more when you're out of combat, which I think is overall a better buff and will definitely make Cloud Dragon much more contested. But either way, guys, there you have it, an early look into the next patch 8.5. Let me know what you think about these changes down below, more specifically to the changes to Nocturne, the new Cloud Dragon, of course, the new RUNE, and everything else as well. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you enjoyed it, then definitely hit that like button, but thank you all so much for watching. Make sure to check out my Kaisai videos as well, and I'll see you guys for the next one. Peace.